Renowned political and policy analyst Lebohang Pheke joins us on the line now to talk about the DA and ID merger.
Thanks. It's really a really interesting move in terms of what it says about the role of parliamentary politics in this country, which has been very marginal over the past 16 years. This illustrates a groundswell of people who are not necessarily very excited anymore by the idea of a kind of de facto one-party state. And I think that it also represents the opportunity for not so much an ideological difference per se, because most of the parties, upon close inspection, don't have particularly different things to say. It represents the politics of possibility and alternative, which many people might find quite appealing.
We've seen these alignments before, most notably the New National Party and the then Democratic Party who formed the Democratic Alliance in the late 90s. That was not sustainable. Right. Do you see this one being sustainable?
What I think is interesting is that it also points to the personality, the cult of personality politics. Two very strong personalities and two parties whose personalities are linked to a particular post-democratic attempt to de-link from so-called race politics to focus more on democracy and social development, a free market economy, whether or not it's possible to de-link race from development issues, from the broader milieu in South Africa, I think is highly debatable and quite doubtful. But I certainly think that their chances of success lie on their attempt to be the broad church that the ANC at the moment seems unable to be to many people.
What does this mean for opposition politics going forward? Do you see more parties perhaps joining the Democratic Alliance, moving towards what we see in many big democracies, a two-party state?
It's an inevitability. Any country that we see around us, most of our neighbors who got their independence 20, 30 years before South Africa, your Zimbabwe's, your Kenya's, Zambia, Mozambique even, Tanzania, the whole notion of they follow the same pattern of the overwhelming liberation movement, which then of course was metamorphosed into a government. And we will see the same here. I think it's the inevitability of transformational politics from liberation politics to being in government, and where people, contrary to popular belief, do want more choice, do want more options, and perhaps may tire a bit of feeling as though a particular party feels entitled to rule or born to rule because of their liberation credentials, but may be judged more on their day-to-day delivery. And that's where we are now seeing a certainly much more sophisticated and nuanced form of politics. And I think it's exciting, and I think we should welcome it and certainly not view it as unpatriotic or anti-anything. Even if it may not be everybody's ideological cup of tea, we should embrace the idea of the politics of others, the politics of possibility, and the politics of difference.
Well, that's renowned political and policy analyst Lebohang Pheke on the DA and ID merger.